the saying, children are people too. I kind of want to do a series on this. I'm flirting with like whether or not I should continue making videos or not, but if I feel so inclined, I probably will. But I resonate with this idea a lot. Children are people too. You know, sometimes adults take a position of superiority and authority over children. They take like a leadership position, kind of like, you don't know any better. You need my leadership. Now, sure, children do need leadership. We're not saying that they don't. However, when you look at the story of this young lady, she is exemplary and something that even as adults we can aspire to be like, and how we handle our own challenges and setbacks, or what could very well be setbacks, depends on how you look at things, how we handle our own stuff. I think that she showed more strength and courage than a lot of adults that I've come across in my day. So, children are people too. At what point do we recognize that? At what point do we put down our I'm an adult, I know best hat and consider how much you can learn from a child? Consider how wise some children are. The people equate wisdom with age. Yeah, many times that's the case, but not all the time. Not all the time. And I think the reason I made it a series is because I have come across countless examples of young people and children who appear to be well beyond their years, right? Chronologically, doesn't make sense. But guess what? That's life. There are things that don't make sense. There are supernatural. There are other elements that we don't yet, not all of us understand. I understand some of it. Kind of my short and sweet on this. Everyone, we come onto this planet Earth for a reason, right? Our mothers are our portals, okay, through which we come through. And we're all on different levels spiritually. Some of us come into Earth from like a level 10. Maybe we're like kind of approaching our last go round. Maybe this last excursion on Earth is just to work out a few more kinks, develop a few more skills, right? Pay off a little more karma, whatever, so that we can we can satisfy what we came here to do, right? And we can fully ascend and move on to whatever is next. Earth or human life is just one small factor, right? In the span of the entire universe. And there's multiple universes and dimensions. It's just, I don't even know what word to use. Just the entire everything. Being a human being, having a human experience on planet Earth is one tiny segment of all that is to be. So, who knows what next is? But, there's people on this planet who it's maybe their first go around, maybe they're level 2, level 3. People who may be level 8, 9, or even 10. But if you only look at the chronological age to ascertain that, then you're actually dismissing or you're neglecting a whole other aspect of being, which is spiritual, right? Which is supernatural. You're neglecting all of that. You're just looking at like, okay, well, this person's 5. I'm 28. I must know more. I must be more versed, be more worldly, be more experienced. Well, not necessarily. If you have the understanding of how people come onto this earth at different levels in their own spiritual journey and development. So I can very easily respect children. I treat children as people too. I can very easily respect them. Doesn't mean that they don't need guidance, leadership, structure, education, lessons, whatever. Doesn't mean that they don't need that. But it does mean, however, that there is a lot that I may be able to learn from them because they may have had a broader range of experience throughout their soul journey. And I here am blessed to be here at this time and space with them now. What can I get from that? And what can I give, right, from that? So that's how I look at it. But
when I was born, I was HIV.
Okay, let me pause that real quick. Hi. So this young lady, I didn't know about until today. It's really true what they say, like you're more famous in death, and I hate that. But also too, it's good. I mean, obviously people did know her because she was on Oprah when she was 11 talking about her story. But I'm sure even more people know of her story now that she's passed away, like myself. And I'm grateful that she was able to kind of, live by example, help other people, and her story speaks for itself. So I really admire people, children, adults alike, who are courageous enough to kind of wear their story on their sleeve and speak outward to the world. I love that because sometimes it takes real vulnerability and strength to do that. But when doing that, you can really help other people. And you do also kind of memorialize yourself, right? That becomes your legacy. So that's really cool. I really admire her for this. And okay, let's carry on. Let me just be quiet.
Positive. And when I turned 5, I had symptoms of AIDS. I had fungus in my brain, blood infections, pneumonia. I went cold blue a couple of times. And that's when I was about 5, they said I was full-blown AIDS. And right now I'm doing really good.
What's the hardest part for you, Hydeia?
Let me pause it here real quick. First of all, Oprah's a demon. Okay, I don't know what she actually is, but she just gives me demon vibes. And I'm not saying that because like she like conspiracy theories, Illuminati and all that stuff. I'm really saying it just because it's like when I look at her. I mean, it's all in the eyes. Just like when I look at the young lady, like I see a star seed in her. I see an indigo child, a crystal child. I see like just a gifted, pure-hearted person. Light. I see light in her. When I see Oprah, I see darkness. Again, it's just in the eyes. I really don't know her personally. So I'm not really speaking to her character. I'm just speaking on my observation that I'm really big on vibes. And when I look at her, but when I look at Oprah, like she just looks, she looks like her inner child vacated. It vacated her body and she's just like dark now. Soulless, maybe. Anyway, the question she just asked her, it's a good question for sure for an interview. However, given the context of a child, I think that question is a little heavy. I love the way she handles herself, right? The way she, we'll proceed and see it, the way she answers the question in a way that she kind of regains her footing shortly thereafter. But I think that's a heavy question because she's there to talk about her story, obviously. But when you take someone into like the deepest, darkest parts of their soul or their experience, you don't know how they're gonna manage that, after, who knows if she had kind of moved past it or buried certain feelings or whatever. But for it to resurface, she could be totally fine. She probably was. But as an interviewer, you wanna consider, the effect of those type of questions on someone so young. I mean, it's not like there's a therapist in the room, or it's not like, I don't know if the girl has a therapist or not. But I think that's important to know. And to kind of debrief her after this, kind of, bring everything back under control, if things were to go out of control, right? Meaning just like, okay, not out of control. Sorry, I'm going all over the place. But just all I'm saying, to put in short, is like when you bring up certain deep subjects like that on anyone of any age, it can be, unless you're really like grown past it and you've come to terms with things, it can bring you to a dark place. When dealing with a child, it's even more sensitive. And so I think that is a really strong question to ask a child, but she handled herself amazingly.
Living with this disease.
Basically, that's like when your friends die. Like. The hardest part is you like, Mama, and you always lose a friend to AIDS. Hard, but especially, I don't think it's real harder on the parents than on they're friends and stuff, and you love them a lot, and you get real close. And like a lot of my friends that have died of AIDS, no one really knows how long anybody's gonna live, because I don't put myself like, oh, you have AIDS, or I could go outside and get hit by a bus tomorrow, and you never know. If you stay in your bed and feel sorry for yourself and don't get up with the birds and just sit there and say, I'm gonna die, why get up and try and make a difference? But when you say, well, today's another day, I can get up, I can do something, make something positive.
Yeah.
People still recognize.
Pause it there for a minute. So yeah, the question she asked was like, what has been the hardest part?
My bad, I had a malfunction, sorry.
She handled it so well. Her story was compelling. She went right into her emotion. I love that about children, how they're just so in touch with their emotions. But she still composed herself so well. I mean, I'm so impressed by her. I wish I knew her before, death, of course. But I'm still glad to have come across her today. I feel blessed by that. It's inspirational for me. And yeah, I really admire how she's really just she's in control. Even as a child, she's in control of her life story. She easily could have been, defeated, right, by her illness. But instead, she rationalized in her mind, well, wait a minute. Well, I'm not going to just give up. Like, I'm not going to just throw in the towel. I'm going to wake up in the morning with the birds, enjoy a reference to nature, right? I love that. She's really, really tapped in and tuned in. And I think that there's a lot to learn from her story and her statements. She goes on to be an HIV activist. We'll kind of show that part as well here.
As a little girl from TV with AIDS, it happens at the weirdest times. I could be in the airport and someone will say, are you that little girl? And they'll whisper, with AIDS? And I just laugh and I say yes. Since I was on Oprah's show, I have been traveling around the world, spreading awareness about HIV/AIDS, prevention, advocating for treatment and care, and really just spreading a message to people about prevention. I was at the height of my career, and I'm like 15, and those are my teen years. Those are the years where you're like supposed to mess up, and you're supposed to find yourself, and it was like so much pressure to be perfect. And there was a point where I really resented speaking, I resented being public. It became too much, and I dealt with low self-esteem, and I dealt with depression, and I really had to find my inner peace. We don't do the why me, why do I have AIDS, why did this happen to me?
I've done everything the same. I live like a regular person. I do like daily activities just like anyone else does.
Dating with AIDS. Well, there's a guy who I thought I was madly in love with, and he couldn't deal with my status. And I became a secret, like, oh, we can hang out, but at my house. Or we go to the movies, but across town. And so that really played with my psyche. It took me a long time to identify that the problem wasn't me, it was him. I was supposed to live past the age of 5. I will be 30 in June. In 5 years, I plan to have my own community center, my own nonprofit